Hi, welcome to my latest episode. Uh, as you might know already, that my favorite topics are racism and religious hate. It happens in the U.S., it happens in India, and the last decade we've seen more and more of it because of various reasons. Now, I don't like to deny it. When I see it in the society, I like to talk about it as much as I can, right? Uh, I lived several years in the US down south during my grad school days. And I have some stories when I used to be in grad school, and a lot of them, it's very difficult to come up with comical stories related to racism, right? Or hate. Because those are very serious topics, affects people in very disastrous ways. But I do have a couple of stories, small stories, that are not funny necessarily, but a little bit interesting. And the first one happened during my stay in grad school. I used to be what is called a tutor in the athletic department. Athletic department is where we had many athletes who played for the university, and these are very high level athletes. These are the best athletes in college, right? And the next level is they go to the professional leagues like the NBA, NFL, and so forth. And one of these, the place as tutor, we would be in a study hall. There was a study hall right next to the dorm, and this is where I would go to tutor the athletes. And this went on for maybe a few months. And maybe after 1 year, I was in the study hall and I ran into this girl. She was a grad student, she was also a tutor. And we became friends because we were sitting there waiting for the athletes to come in to tutor, and we started talking and we became friends. Every time I meet her, I said, "Hey, Alicia, how are you doing?" And we started talking, and that's it, right? We would meet in the study halls, and she seemed like a nice person. And well, what happened with the story was one day, maybe a Saturday afternoon, I was walking around campus, and I walked into one of the shops that was in the downtown area. And I was going there to pick up a greeting card or something like that. So I walked in there, and there was Alicia, the counter. And I said, "Hey, Alicia, how are you doing?" We were talking, and, just friendly chat. We were just talking to Alicia. Alicia was, she's a grad student just like me. And we were talking, and suddenly this older white woman comes in. And I could tell from her face immediately that she looked at Alicia and she had this look on her face, and she sort of glanced at me for a minute. And the look on her face told me exactly. I mean, I could read it very well. It happened to be her mom, I think, and immediately she was upset that she was talking to me. And after that, I said, "Bye, Alicia," and I walked out of the store, right? So at that moment, the momentary thing in my mind was this was racism, right? Maybe racism, maybe not. Could be just a concerned mom, about any daughter talking to a strange guy, maybe. But this is the deep south, right? Very few. I hardly saw any interracial couples, right? This was the late 80s, early 90s. So if Alicia and I were dating, it would have been, obviously, this is way too much for the mom, right? So again, this was a very small incident, but it stuck in my head, because I've never faced a lot of racism when I was down south. But these kinds of small little things that show up, right, that kind of reminds you maybe there is, maybe there is not. Uh, Another interesting incident, this happened actually maybe 10 years after I left my university. I went back for a conference. This was early 2000s, I think. I went back for a conference in Georgia, and the conference was a few days. And on the first day, the conference got done, and I was ready to drive back to my hotel. My hotel was in Alabama, right? So deep south, Georgia to Alabama was about 45-minute drive. It's a neighboring state. And I went to get gas for my car, filled up the gas with petrol, and I talked to the gas station, the clerk. This was before the days of GPS, so I had no map. I mean, I had a map, I had directions, so I could go two ways. I could take the state road that goes from the conference center to the hotel through many state roads, or I could take a highway. So my mind, since I used to live in that part of the country, and people are generally nice, so I felt comfortable going on the state road. This was the evening, about the sun was setting and all that kind of stuff. So I was at the in the gas station, talked to the clerk, and I said, confirming my directions. I was asking person, the state road, does it go there, and all that kind of stuff. So a lady overheard me, white woman. So she saw me asking these questions about the state road, and I was talking about the highway as well, but then my intention was going the state road. So she quietly told me to not take the state road. And from her face and expressions, I could tell she was concerned for me, that I was going to take the state road. Once again, this again is a point of, essentially she was concerned what could happen on a state road when a person that looks like me, who looks like I didn't belong there, could go on a state road in the evening, because we've all seen many movies, right? When somebody of a different color goes through state roads in a small roads in deep south. I mean, this could happen in any part of the country, but but the history of the deep south and racism. So the lady had the concern on her face, and I thanked her for telling me. And in my head, I was all thinking about all these things, but I was adamant. I was, I lived down south. I'm confident people, how the people are down south. I still have some accent. If I need to do the southern accent, I can pull it out whenever I want to. But anyway, the point was, she was concerned for me, and I genuinely appreciated that she was concerned for me. But then I took the state road, because it was beautiful. State road is calm, and I don't know if you guys driven down any small roads in this country, because I didn't want to go on the highway that day for whatever reason. So I took the state road, no problems. I got to my hotel. But this story still, it's in my head, right? After all these years, the point is, there's always people who are willing to protect you. And there are people who have issues with racism, okay? So this is why I keep preaching anti-racism messages, anti-hate messages, because these things stay in you for generations, okay? And it isn't just somebody else who gets hurt. It's you who's getting hurt. It's your family that gets hurt, okay? And this lady wasn't sure about the people that she, considered her own, what they could do to do somebody like me there, right? So anyway, with that, I stop today's episode. Hopefully come back with something else later. Thank you.